Now that is a car.
Now, you're watching Gearz.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. We have a great show planned for you today because we're finishing up Old Smoke. Now, for those of you that don't know what Old Smoke is, well, here it is. It's a brand new Corvette that we have teamed up with Armor All and Tony Stewart on to create a one-of-a-kind supercar, and then Armor All is going to give it away to one of you guys. Now, you might be wondering about the name Old Smoke. Well, a lot of people don't realize that Tony Stewart's nickname is Smoke, and here's how he got it.
I got that clear back in the USAC days in about 91 or 92, and we were racing sprint cars at IRP one night, and I remember I got hit or hit somebody, and it got me sideways, and we were sliding through the grass at IRP, and we were going by the poles, the light poles that were on the inside, and they didn't have a nice guardrail or anything in front of them. It was just open poles here. And the guy said something, he goes, "Man, you were smoking by those poles." And he goes, "You smoked right by those poles." And then, you know, the same night we ran the feature event, and I wasn't very good at throttle control. So when I'd come off the corner, there'd be a little blue haze of smoke, and where I was just slipping the tires a little bit. And so it had multiple meanings that night, but that was a nickname that stuck. Everybody on the race team had nicknames, and I was the only guy that didn't have one, and so that's the night they nicknamed me Smoke.
So obviously, if we're going to put the name Old Smoke on this car, it needs to be fast. So the first thing we did was put on a twin turbo system from STS Turbo to bring the horsepower up around 600 or so. Okay, the speed is taken care of. Now we need to do something to the outside of this car that's going to make it just as unique and just as cool visually as it's going to be when you stomp the pedal. So I hooked up with airbrush artist Steve Ray, and we went to work laying this thing out. So what's this, man? I've heard this is the new racing suit for F1 drivers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Tony's not going to like that, man.
I'm too fat to go to Formula One, I think. I don't think you could get all of me in a Formula One car, so Formula One's probably out.
Here, and then you got some of this gray. Now, Steve had given me 3 examples of different styles of smoke, so it was just a matter of pinpointing how I wanted this thing to look. Yeah, and I like the aggressive look of that smoke over this. This is a little lazy, a little cigarette smoke look.
I got you. Yeah, no, that's no problem. We can do that.
That black's going to look good against that orange.
Right, I think so too.
Once the look was decided, Steve went to work on the car and started bringing it to life. Now, the idea here was to keep this as subtle as possible, but still make this car unique, so when people see it, they know it's not just another Corvette, but something special. Oh, no, you can't see this yet. No, you'll spoil the surprise. Okay, let me show you what we got here. We got fire burning right off of the Corvette emblem, then it comes up into smoke, which rolls up the hood into the hood scoop. Of course, you've got some little stragglers here that didn't quite make it. That's a great detail. Then, of course, you got fire that rolls down the side of the car. We're going to show you that here a little later in the show. But first, while we're up here, I know some of you guys are wondering about this hood, since the stock Corvette hood is flat. Well, this is a special hood from SLP Performance Parts, and it not only features the scoop, but it's fully functional. Check this out. The scoop dumps cool air out of these vents on the sides, and it blows right down on the heads and the exhaust and relieves some of this underhood temperature. Now, the best part about this, though, this is a direct replacement hood for your stock hood. I mean, it literally comes out of the box and it's ready to go on the car. I mean, that is almost unheard of in an aftermarket hood, especially a fiberglass one. SLP did their homework on this one. Now, you'll also notice that Steve did a little extra artwork. You got the Armor All logo here, Tony Stewart's name and number, and of course the Gearz logo, just so you don't forget where this car came from. Now, obviously, we're getting really close to taking this thing down the road and seeing what it's capable of. But before we do that, I've got some mechanical things that I want to do first. Hey, we're back and putting the finishing touches on old Smoke before Armor All gives it away to the lucky winner of their contest. Man, it's going to be great. Good luck to every one of you guys. Now, as cool as this is, though, we don't want to overlook the fact that this is a great project. Remember, the whole idea here is to take a base Corvette, put on the right aftermarket parts, and create a one-of-a-kind supercar that'll not only run with Porsches and Vipers and Ferraris, but it'll also give this mythical $150,000 ZR1 Corvette a run for its money. And it's gonna do that for a whole lot less money than any of those cars cost. That is cool. All right, we have the speed taken care of. We have the look and the attitude that we want. Now we got to do something to bring this thing back from terminal velocity safely. So we're going to do a brake upgrade. Now, the Corvette already comes with good brakes, but they can be better. They can always be better. So we went to Stainless Steel Brake Corporation and we got their Corvette kit. Now check this out. The first thing that you're going to notice are these huge 3-piston calipers. Then to go with those, you have these massive 14-inch drilled and slotted rotors. So you've got a lot of clamping force and you got a lot to clamp onto. These will pull that car to a stop over and over again. Now on the rear, we're going to keep the stock calipers, but we're going to upgrade the rotors and the pads. Now the best part about this whole kit is that it's so easy to put on, you're not going to believe it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Simply remove the stock caliper and rotor. Then slide on the new rotor. Finally, bolt on the new caliper with the supplied hardware and bleed the system. And that is it. That is really all there is to this. And these 3-piston calipers are not only going to give us more clamping force than these original 2-piston jobs, but they're also going to spread the pressure out more uniformly on the pads, which becomes very important the hotter the brakes get. Now, what about wheels? I mean, you really didn't think I was going to reuse these old stockers, did you? No, let's go take a look. Once again, we went to SLP Performance Parts and got a set of their brand new Corvette wheel that they're calling the Smoke Wheel for obvious reasons. Now take a look at this. This is a super strong 1-piece aluminum wheel. It's got a 5-spoke design and it's polished and then clear coated across the spokes. But then everywhere else, you've got this gunmetal gray smoke powder coating. These are gonna look incredible on that car. So at least if you can't own that car, you can put a set of Smoke wheels on your car. Now, I know you guys are wondering, man, what do those look like? Well, let's check it out, see what we got. You are gonna be surprised how well these fill out this car. I mean, look at that. Man, the wheels, the brakes, that is an incredible looking wheel. Now, what about tires? Good question. We're gonna put on a brand new set of these Goodyear Eagle F1 supercars. Now, this is an ultra high performance tire. It's got a run flat design, so you don't need a spare tire, and they're rated right at 190 miles an hour, which is about where this car is gonna be running. So, as far as tires go, you're gonna be set. All right, we got one more tweak to do to this car. That involves going up under the hood. Now, most people know that when you put on a supercharger or a turbo, that you want to upgrade your spark plugs. But before you put just any old plug on, you need to check these out from E3. This features what they call diamond fire technology, and if you'll notice, the electrode is kind of a cage design with a diamond-shaped hole in the end, and that allows the fire to blow right down on top of the piston. And you'll notice that is a lot different than a conventional spark plug, where the electrode actually obstructs the fire some. This is such a simple little thing, but it makes a huge difference in performance and fuel economy. However, the most amazing thing to me about the E3 plug is that in all the years that people have been making spark plugs, nobody has thought to do this. Well, this is it. Old Smoke is done and ready to be given away. But before we do that, we need to show you what this thing's capable of. Because remember, we set a pretty high criteria for this car. To build a true supercar, something that'll run with anything on the road, as well as that ZR1 Corvette, be affordable and still be something that a guy can drive every day. So, how'd we do? That's what you're about to find out. Yeah. The testing location was the Nashville Super Speedway, since it's only fitting to test a car with Tony Stewart's name on it at a racetrack. However, the first and most important test didn't have anything to do with high-performance driving. Quite the opposite. All right, I know the first question is, what about drivability and economy? I mean, can you afford to drive a car like this? Well, according to the computer here, we are running 30 miles to the gallon right now. Now, we're driving 60 miles an hour, high gear, not pushing a car, but you can see if you drive this car right, you can have this car and enjoy it. Now, of course, when you stomp on and kick the turbos in, you can kiss that economy goodbye, but that's what a Corvette's for. With that done, it was time to get Old Smoke rolling and not only feel how she handled its speed, but also get a feel for the engine's dynamics and the throttle response with those turbos on there. The car pulls hard from idle to about 2,500 RPM, and that's when the turbos really start spooling up. And the power starts coming on hard and heavy, laying you back in the seat and sending an incredible sound out the tailpipes. Now, the only problem we're going to face about establishing a top speed on this car is the track is not long enough for me to reach top speed. So, the only thing I can do is floor this thing for as long as I can, and that'll give us an idea about what it's capable of. The trick is I've got to shut it down before I reach the next curve, or I could get into the wall and wreck the car. That would not be a good thing. Here we go. 130. 140, 150, oh man, so much more left. Judging by the speed and the RPMs and the gearing we have left, this car will easily hit 190, possibly 200 if you got enough room. All right, we'll be there in just a few minutes. Now, being out here on the big track, I mean, most people can't really relate to this. This doesn't have anything to do with daily driving, but a road course, now that does, because you have to be able to drive the car. I mean, you got to be able to turn left and right. You got to be able to handle the brakes, shift the gears, and that's when we're going to find out how these turbos are going to spool up when we go into a corner hot. So that's going to be a really good test of what this car is going to be like on the highway. Now, I know some of you guys that are hoping to win this thing are going, oh man, you're going to scratch it. A couple of things. First of all, it's not your car yet. Second of all, the rest of us that aren't gonna own this car, we deserve to see what this thing's capable of doing. That's what this show's all about. So just rest easy. I promise you, I will treat it with loving care and not scratch it. Pushing the car through the curves is a lot of fun because the Corvette already has an incredible suspension. When you add to that the tremendous power and the superior braking, you've got a car that would be a great weekend road course car. Or a nice reliable daily driver too, because it'd be so easy to parallel park it. Now, when it comes to off-the-line acceleration, Old Smoke lives up to its name in a big way. Now, there is no doubt that Old Smoke is an incredible vehicle, something I'd like to own, and Tony Stewart would like to own it, and Jennifer and half the people at Armor All would like to own it, our crew would like to own it, and we are proud to be able to give it away to somebody. We also want to thank the Nashville Super Speedway for letting us come out here and put it through the paces for you. So, what's next? Well, in about 3 minutes, you're going to find out. Hey, welcome back to Gearz, and the moment you've all been waiting for, because Old Smoke is done, and it's time to give it to the new owner. And we're gonna make sure it's all nice and clean for you, which is only fitting, because Armor All are the guys that put this whole giveaway together with us and Tony Stewart. So we're gonna make sure that there's some cleaner and polish that goes with the car. Now, before we send this thing down the road one last time, there's a few things we need to cover about this project. Number one, we didn't have to do a whole lot of modifications to really bring this car to life. Just a few simple things that you could do to practically any vehicle. Two, with over 600 horsepower on tap, we definitely have put this car into supercar territory and given it the potential to hit around 200 miles an hour, as well as smoke the tires whenever you want to. We definitely suggest you try this at home. Number three, even though it's blisteringly fast, it'll still cruise at around 25 to 28 miles per gallon, not overheat in traffic, and be a pleasure to drive anywhere, anytime. 4, the car is still serviceable at the local dealership. Matter of fact, nothing that we've done to the car is going to void the warranty, provided you don't take it out and race it. The new turbos are under STS's warranty. The new brakes are under stainless steel brakes warranty. Then there's the special paint job. You not only have smoke rolling up the hood, you also have a little flame burning out of the cove, then the smoke billows and rolls down the side of the car and then dissipates before it hits the rear tire. Very cool. It makes it look like this thing's already doing 100 miles an hour just sitting there. There will be no mistake in this car when it's rolling down the street or into a car show. If you don't want to be noticed, this is probably not the car for you. And don't forget, you also have the special smoke wheels and the massive brakes that definitely make this a one-of-a-kind car. Now, like I said from the very beginning, the whole idea here was to build the car that every gearhead would want to own and be able to enjoy for years. So, for the new lucky winner, I'm putting my card into the center console, along with an orange Sharpie. So if you ever have any questions with the car, you can call me directly. Now, if you wreck the car, don't call me. Call Tony Stewart. And if you get thrown in jail for speeding, you're on your own. But whatever you do, make sure you take the car out, drive it, and enjoy it, because that's what it was made for.
And now, what are you working on?
For today's What Are You Working On, we're going to shift gears a little bit and feature a motorcycle. Now, this comes from Doug Mullen from New York City, and Doug wanted himself a custom bike. The problem is, Doug lives in an apartment building. So he worked himself out a deal with a superintendent that he could use the storage room as his workshop. Take a look at this, and it's hard to believe he got this much junk in that room. Now, Doug basically started with a frame and an engine and hand-built the rest of this bike. Now, he said that he's never really done much metal work, so he invested in a lathe and a milling machine, planishing hammer, English wheel, and he was off and running. Here's a shot of him, the mad scientist working late into the night, pounding on metal. Now, he said his neighbors probably thought he was nuts because he went up and down the streets for 3 months, picking up scrap metal off the street to build into parts for his bike. So the bike is basically built out of junk off the streets of New York. It's incredible. Now, when it came time to do the seat, Doug wanted to do that too. So here's a shot of the seat that he built. Now, the cool thing about this picture is notice where the seat is. It's on the kitchen table. Doug, you either have a very understanding wife or you don't have a wife anymore. Now, when it came to paint, Doug did that himself too. In the basement, in the middle of the night, in a tent that he constructed down in the meter room. Doug, man, I hope codes never catches up with you, man. You are going to be in trouble. Now, the cool thing about this project, we're always telling people to get out there, work on something. You don't need the big shop, you don't need the big tools to do something really cool. Doug proves that. And if you don't believe him, look at the bike, man. What a fantastic machine, no matter how you look at it. So, Doug, awesome job, man. You get the MacGyver Award on this one. Now, the rest of you guys, get out there, work on something, show us what you got. We'll see if we can get it on the air. All right, the Corvette is done. Next week, we're back on the Banshee. We'll see you then.